Okay, let's do the top. We have to get enough wood to produce a 20 by 39 inch board, and we're going to need more than one width. We're not going to find something 20 inches wide. So I've selected this board from the lumber room, and if I cut it into 3 pieces it should work just right. It's a little over 7 inches, so together all 3 will be about 21 inches wide. I need 39 inches per piece. This will give me enough to yield about 40 and a half each piece. So that's what I'm going to rough cut it to. The upcut saw, twist the red, press the green. I want to make sure there's no checks or cracks in the end of the board. This one looks great. If it does have checks in the board, cut those off and don't use them. That's not right. I gotta go 40.5. Green button. Both flat. Okay, so I need at least 20 inches wide. In fact, I want a little bit wider, at least 20 and a half. So I've got plenty here, about 1.5 inches excess. But as you can see, I'm going to need to trim some down to get these boards aligned. And I've got at least 1/2 inch wider. I need to be, or longer. 39 is what I finish at, so having about 1.5 inches is plenty, and 1/2 inch would be enough. Okay, lay these boards out the way you like, the way it looks good to you. So I'm kind of turning them over. I like that less. I do like this. That's kind of cool. Okay, that's how I like them. Now I'm going to check the ends for smiles and frowns. So the end of this board, we're looking at the growth rings. Now that is not a growth ring, it's just the cut from the saw. So don't mistake it. I'm looking at the growth rings that go like this. And that's a frown. This one is a smile. This one is a smile. Also, it's painted on the end, so it's a little harder to tell. But it's a smile. And maybe I'll check the other side to be sure. Yeah, it's a smile. Okay, so I've got a frown, smile, smile. If I can swap these around, that would be better. And that's what I think I'll do. Now I've got a smile, frown, smile. And that works just fine. So I'm going to draw a triangle. This is labeled as 1, 2, 3. This edge needs to be jointed. This edge will be table sawn, so they are parallel. This edge will be jointed. This edge will be table sawn so they're parallel, and then jointed so that it's smooth. This one will be jointed and then table sawn. Every edge that comes together must be jointed. That's what's going to get glued together. That's why it's called the jointer. Goes to about 7. So my smallest point is about 7 inches. That's another. Much better. Now this one I need to joint. I table sawed it, now I need to joint it, and then we'll be ready for glue up. Okay, I've set up my 3 boards. 1, 2, 3. I have jointed where they're coming together, table saw on the opposite edge. This one I table sawed first, then I jointed it. This one I jointed and table sawed. Remember that we're leaving these at full thickness, 15/16. There's no planing that happens before these go together. They're going to shift. It's hard to keep them from doing so, but once we plane them, they'll be smoothed off. If we plane them first and then try to glue them together and they'll shift, there's no more material to take off to make them smooth. I've got my clamp set up, one on each end, one in the center. I'm going to put 2 more, one there on top, one there on top, so that we alternate. Bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. Let's do our dry fit first. Start in the center. Get them flush. Next one. Flush them up and do whatever it takes we still be do whatever it takes to manipulate these boards to get it flush right there. And then move to our next one. We got to get that flushed up. If you can't do it by hand, use one of these clamps. Once that's tight, that can be. Okay, now moving to the left side. Same thing. Get it flush, tighten it. Now the last one. So this, you can see, has a little bit of a lip. That's about a 1/64 of an inch, and that's tolerable. We can go as much as a 32nd and still be okay, and so that'll work out. So now I'm looking for gaps. See if I see any black lines. If there is, it's usually because we forgot to joint it, or we jointed it poorly, or there's something stuck in there. Something's wrong, and take it apart and fix it. dry fit it again. Okay, we're ready for glue up. Pull that one up. Pull that one up. Spread it. Don't assume that it will self-spread. It will not. You spread it, make sure it's covering everywhere. I'm not worried about too much glue. It'll just drip out onto the table. That's what I'm expecting to happen. Looks good. Start in the middle. Now that glue's on there, it's going to want to shift because it acts like a lubricant. So just go slow and easy until it starts to grab. Good. Now we move to the next one. Shifting. Slow and easy until it grabs. Good. Shifting. Okay, now I want to make sure they're all good and tight. Don't want them falling off when I move it. Okay, I've got a wet rag. We're going to clean it off. Also got some putty knives. You need to clean off this glue, top and bottom. If we don't, we have to scrape it off, and we might have to scrape off a little bit anyway, because it's hard to get underneath the clamps. But it's way easier to get it off, and it doesn't do quite as much damage. The scraper can chip the wood. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. Put your name big and bold. And the time, 15 minutes from now is all it's going to take for that glue to set, to bond. Then I can take it out of clamps. In the meantime, I'm going to slide it over there. Go work on something else.